Now that we are done with classes and functions, I would like to draw our attention to catching errors in code. The thing with errors in code is it stops the code from running further. Now let's go back to our favorite IDE. Let's go here and let's delete this one. Let's just say I did this and did this. Of course, this is an error. And even if I let's remove this one to show you how it will work. So as you can see here, we are able to print 1 using the console log. But if we did an error here, which is a syntax error, you can see that it will not go to console X or the line number 4 here. So there are two different types of errors that we can encounter, and what we are seeing right now is the usual syntax error. The other one, of course, is runtime error. So just to show you the global scope, which is called window, and if we just do use this, we also can see that it's the same thing. Here are the possible functions and variables that we can use in window. But let's say what I do when it comes to runtime. Well, before I discuss what a runtime error is, of course, a syntax error is usually an error based on how we write our code. So if we do this, of course, it will become an error. Or if we made a mistake in the our keyword, it will have a syntax error as well. So going back, let's say I want to do this. Oops. If we do this, we will have a type error, or which is actually one of the errors that are under a runtime error. These errors that we might sort of experience later on can be a showstopper, meaning it will not go to like this one. Now the thing with having a print me, it's not really a syntax error. It's just that there is no function that is called print me in the global scope. So we can actually add, let's say, function print me, and let's say we do this. As you can see, it will run as well. But what if we haven't set it up and that becomes a runtime error? It's not really a syntax error because the code is still sort of functioning. It's just that it doesn't have that print me function. So what we can do is to check if print me is in window. That's one way to catch this error. So if it doesn't have, it will not do this. But the thing is, we don't necessarily know sometimes what are the other ways that can happen. Like let's say, yeah, this one has, let's say I do this. Oh, not debug, but because there's a debug, like let's say print. Then of course there's another type error because console doesn't have a print in it. So the thing is, how can we make sure that we catch all types of errors that will happen? And one way is to use try catch. So instead of having an if, we try the code first, and if there's an error, let's just print out the error here. and then, oops, and then it still prints out the error because of this one, but it executes the last line of code. So this is useful if you want to like catch all the errors in a code. Like, let's say you're fetching a resource over the internet, and fetching the resource might return an error, like let's say there's no resource found, or it took a long time to get that resource, and has a timeout. Catching those errors will allow us to still execute the whole code without breaking your logic, in essence. And here we can actually, let's say, show it on the screen that there's an error. Like if I do this error dot message, so if there's an error, it will show up in the alert function, and that's another way of showing that, hey, I have encountered an error. We can show to the users that we have encountered an error. Please try again later on. The good thing here as well is you can actually throw, let's say if I'm going to have a random number here, math.random is less than 0.5, we can throw as well a new error. So let's say number is below 0.5, and if we do this, so now it's not below 0.5, but now it's below 0.5. So I refresh it again, and now it's below 0.5. If I refresh it again, it will still be below 0.5 because the random says so. Let's have it like, put it here, const x equals math.random, and c console.log x. So now it's over 0.5. Oops, sorry. Yeah. And then it's still over 0.5. If we refresh, it will have an error. So yeah, now that we know how to throw an error, if we want to throw an error and have a way to catch it, then that's great. The try catch is very useful once we are doing promises and the sync await later on, which we will talk about next.